Cyclops' final breath.
In the Infinity Gauntlet comic series, Thanos had achieved the impossible. He'd collected all 6 Infinity Stones and erased half of all life with a simple snap of his fingers. In hopes of saving what was lost, the remaining Avengers, X-Men and even some villains assembled for one final, desperate stand at Thanos' palace. But they were nothing compared to the power of the Infinity Gauntlet. The moment the battle began, Thanos started toying with them. He froze everyone in time and walked among them casually, fully aware that he could annihilate them all with a single thought. But before he could, Mephisto decided to intervene. All this time, he had been pretending to serve the Mad Titan, but secretly he wanted him to fail. Mephisto knew Thanos was madly in love with Lady Death and craved her approval above all else. So he convinced him that killing the heroes effortlessly wouldn't impress her. The manipulation worked. Thanos nerfed himself, limiting his power to only the Power Stone, giving the heroes a 0.5% chance to win. When time unfroze, the fight erupted into chaos. But even with a single stone, Thanos was nearly unstoppable. One by one, Earth's mightiest heroes fell, yet none of their deaths compared to what awaited Cyclops. With barely a gesture, Thanos created a solid, transparent force cube around Scott Summers' head. It materialized instantly, sealing perfectly against his neck. No air could enter and no sound could escape. Scott's hands flew to his face, clawing at the cube in panic. He fired his optic beam, but the barrier didn't even crack. Captain America sprinted toward him, bashing the cube with his vibranium shield, but it was useless. The leader of the X-Men dropped to his knees, digging his nails into the unbreakable prison while his lungs screamed for oxygen. After the most excruciating minutes of his life, the suffering finally stopped.
Tony Stark's Iron Coffin.
In the nightmare reality of the Marvel Universe versus the Avengers comic series, a deadly plague swept across Earth, turning people into cannibalistic monsters. Superheroes were no exception. When the outbreak began in New York, many of them met gruesome fates, but none as twisted as the one waiting for Tony Stark. Iron Man survived the initial chaos and joined the few remaining heroes and anti-heroes working together to save as many civilians as they could. But despite their best efforts, it quickly became clear the plague couldn't be contained. Then, Dr. Doom appeared with what he claimed to be a solution. He presented the heroes with Doomstones, a fusion of science and alchemy, supposedly capable of curing the infected. The only thing he asked in return was to be named Emperor of the World. Despite their doubts, the heroes agreed. Every survivor in New York, including them, was given a Doomstone set to protect against the plague. But it was all a lie. Doom was secretly a cannibal. Once Iron Man and the others finished building an electrified fence around the city to keep more infected from coming in, Doom activated the stones. Tony was shielded by his armor. Unfortunately, he was the only one with some sort of protection. In an instant, every survivor wearing a Doomstone collar turned into a cannibal. Stark didn't even have time to process what was happening before Red Hulk, completely consumed by rage and hunger, threw him into the electrified fence. A brutal fight erupted between them, leaving Iron Man's suit badly damaged. When everything seemed hopeless, Tony rerouted the last of his suit's power into one massive blast, sending Red Hulk flying all the way to Hudson Bay. But the surge caused a full system restart, leaving him exposed to the Doomstone hanging around his neck. Instantly, the transformation began. Tony's eyes filled with rage, and his genius mind was consumed by primal hunger. With no way to escape the malfunctioning suit, there was nothing left to do but scream. And so he did, for 5 days straight. Unable to move and tortured by unimaginable hunger, Tony suffered inside the iron coffin until death finally claimed him. After that, only a silent statue remained.
The Mad Titan's arrogance.
After the entire multiverse was destroyed in the 2015 Secret Wars comic series, Dr. Doom was given the chance to reshape reality in his own image. He created Battleworld, a patchwork planet made from the remnants of dead universes, and ruled over it as God Emperor Doom. But not everyone bowed to his authority, especially not Thanos. When a rebellion broke out, Thanos seized the opportunity. He took command of New Xandar's Annihilation Horde, an army of colossal, insect-like creatures, and marched them into battle. When the Mad Titans forces arrived, the two villains finally stood face to face. Doom offered Thanos a chance to become a Baron and keep his horde if he swore loyalty. But Thanos only laughed. He reminded Doom that he too had once been a god when he wielded the Infinity Gauntlet. To him, Doom was just a pretender. He demanded that the so-called God Emperor kneel before him. Unfortunately for the Mad Titan, his arrogance would cost him everything. Before Thanos could react, Doom drove his hand straight through his chest, shattering bone and armor in a single strike. With one brutal motion, he tore out the Mad Titan's spine so fast, the skull remained attached, still frozen in that arrogant grin.
The Lizard's most gruesome snack.
In the Amazing Spider-Man comic series, readers witnessed perhaps the most horrific instance of Dr. Chort Connor's mind losing out to the power of the lizard. For years, whenever Connors transformed into the reptilian monster, Spider-Man could always bring him back by reminding him of his family, his wife Martha and his son Billy. It was the only thing that kept Chort Connors human. But the lizard knew that, and it wanted that weakness gone forever. By this time, Martha had already died from cancer, leaving Billy as the last piece of Connor's humanity. When the lizard took control again, it set out on a hunt. Spider-Man raced to save the boy, knowing exactly how this would end if he didn't get there in time. He managed to intercept the lizard before it reached Billy's home. Spider-Man tried desperately to bring Chort back, but it quickly became clear a fight was inevitable. Then, a realization dawned on him. Someone had already broken inside. He begged the lizard to stop, and, unexpectedly, the green monster retreated. Confused, Spider-Man rushed inside to check on Billy, but the boy was already gone. All this time, it had been part of a much bigger plot orchestrated by Kraven the Hunter's wife, Sasha Kravinoff. Her husband was dead, and she sought to torment and ultimately sacrifice Spider-Man in order to resurrect him. Before Spider-Man arrived, Sasha had sent her daughter Anna to kidnap the boy. The young hunters left Billy in an abandoned alley nearby, and when the lizard caught his scent, it went after him. When the monster finally reached the alley, Chort's consciousness briefly surfaced. He begged the lizard to spare his son, but it was too late. The creature couldn't be stopped. It began devouring the boy while his father was forced to watch and feel everything. Spider-Man arrived moments later, but not in time to save Billy. And it was far too late to save Chort. The brutal, merciless act shattered the last fragments of Connor's humanity, transforming the lizard into the worst version there had ever been. For the first time, the creature was fully in control, and even capable of speech. This broke Spider-Man completely, leaving him drowning in guilt and sorrow.